And welcome back. Well, the start of a new school year is just around the corner, and that means new friends and new experiences. It also means a new season of navigating boundaries for our kids and digital devices. Molly and Katrina recently sat down with a social media expert who has advice for all families.
New research suggests that teenagers and their parents are dealing with the same issues around distraction from our phones, social media, and all those digital devices.
I believe it. It's true, right? In fact, almost 4 in 10 parents admit they spend too much time on their cell phone, and even more feel pressured to respond to texts immediately. Our next guest is here to help us find balance. She grew up in the heart of Silicon Valley and now travels to schools all over the country and has advised companies, including Instagram, about digital wellness. Anna Homayoun has also written 3 books, including this one. It's called Social Media Wellness, Helping Tweens and Teens Thrive in an Unbalanced Digital World. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
That was a lot, but I think it's really important for people to understand your background. You were in 35 cities last year talking to schools and other organizations, and this is your second time in Wisconsin. You're still from the Silicon Valley area, right?
Yes, and I'm so glad to be back. But every time I go to a different part of the country, I see so many of the same issues repeating over and over. A lot of times parents think they're the only ones that are dealing with their teenagers and social media and technology use, but it's everywhere today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure, for sure. And you know, one of the things we were talking about is that parents being the ones that we get distracted. How would you say, like, what do parents need to really think about and what they give as examples?
So a lot of times parents don't even realize that when they're talking to their kids, they come from this area of fear, anger, and frustration. I'm so angry that you're on social media. And yet they're checking their phones, but they're like, it's for work. Right?
So we have you been to my house?
Yeah. Were you spying on us last night?
Right. So we have to understand what parental modeling really looks like. A lot of times I'll visit schools and kids will say, you know, my mom or my dad is on their phone all the time. So why are they so angry with me when I'm just trying to socialize with my friends?
I think that's fascinating. You say, though, and I think this is a good point that a lot of parents might have a hard time processing. You say that social media is neither good nor bad.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Social media in itself isn't good or bad. It's a tool to communicate. And there are so many ways that there are positive experiences that we have. I mean, I stay in touch with so many of my friends. I used technology yesterday to FaceTime with my nephew. Those are all energizing, positive experiences. But there's also overwhelming, draining experiences like feeling on all the time, feeling this information overload, particularly for teens where they're getting so much information at once and they can't really filter it. So our job as adults is really to help them understand they have a choice in how they spend their time online. They can opt into energizing experiences and opt out of negative ones.
Yeah, right. And give them the permission to do that.
And you're all about creating boundaries. And I know there are a lot of parents out there that may be thinking, okay, when is the right age? When am I supposed to give that child a cell phone?
Sure.
Because everybody has it. And the kids are like, wait, you know,
yeah,
they're 10 and I've got all my friends have one.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, every kid is different, as you know, right? Every family is different and every kid within a family. So the biggest thing I always say is it depends on your child. And that you always want to look at phone use in terms of incremental use, right? So you don't just hand a second grader or a 10-year-old a smartphone with 24/7 access, right? You have the conversations beforehand around what that looks like. And then maybe you give them a flip phone first. Maybe you ease into a smartphone, but the default is that you as the parent have the phone more of the time than they do, so that you're easing them into usage, because a lot of times kids don't know how to regulate. They want to regulate but there's all these shiny things online, you know, on these apps. I mean, adults feel this way too. So, you know, creating these boundaries and these conversations early and often are really important.
Well, and it's tough because I think a lot of parents who are watching are like me, where you haven't done the right things, especially initially with giving kids a cell phone. And sometimes you feel like it's too late. There's so much we were trying to learn.
Yep.
It was sort of like drinking water from a fire hose, literally, as it relates to technology. And I hope parents don't feel like it's too late. Sometimes I think you have to hit the reset button. And you have some wonderful tips for kids and adults for social media wellness, starting with the idea of just developing awareness.
A lot of times we don't even know how much time we spend online. Like, I had a young man in my office just 2 weeks ago, and he was worried about how school was going and he was very stressed about his grades. And I said, you know, pull out your phone. And he had, you know, the iPhone. And so we went to the screen time, which you can go and through your settings. And he found out that on the previous week, he had spent 40 hours on his phone.
What?
Right. So
That's probably a lot less than some kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But 20 hours just on YouTube. And so that to him was a wake-up call, because a lot of my work is all about helping kids develop intrinsic motivation rather than giving parents like more guidelines or rules that they have to do. So when kids develop the awareness of, hey, is that matching up with your goals, where you want to be?
Right.
They start to buy into it of, hey, 40 hours on my phone when I'm really stressed about school, let me find ways that I can change my habits.
And that's settings, and you go to screen
Yes.
time. Okay.
And there's some other apps that you have as well.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, so the next thing is really this idea of compartmentalizing time. So for a lot of parents and adults, as well as kids, the biggest thing is that we try and multitask when multitasking results in never
Really
anything getting done well, right? And
Yeah.
so I always help kids figure out, when you're doing your work, do your work. Even if it's just 25 minutes on, 5-minute break where you don't get on technology. If you do that 3 or 4 times, you'll get all your homework done, and then the rest of the night is yours. So I'm all about helping kids find an extra 7 to 10 hours of free time per week.
Now, why the 5-minute, why the break, no technology? Does it get their brain stimulated and thinking, get it off course a little bit, or off the job at hand?
So I always say, you know, you don't go on YouTube and only watch one 3-minute video,
Right.
right? 45 minutes later, you're in cat videos, you don't know how you got there.
It's because they have it all streaming
Right,
at the side,
exactly,
going, watch
exactly.
this one next. then
Exactly.
This one.
So really what you want to do is do that 5-minute break so that you don't get exhausted, but that you get up, walk around, get a snack, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do, 25 minutes back on. And then when you're done with an hour and a half or 2 hours, you're done for the night. You can do whatever you want. Like, I never say kids
Then
don't get on
video
social media.
games is okay?
I prefer, in my ideal world, that kids spent their weeks off video games and did them on the
Okay.
weekends.
Weekend, okay.
Because I think it just becomes really hard to self-regulate, because then you rush through things. And I've seen the most effective tool for most kids be, you know, mostly on the weekends. Again, it also gives them that daily and weekly digital detox time, so they're not constantly looking forward to that.
Right. One of the things that we did with like the basketball moms is that we were all talking about when we were kids, we'd go out and play, and the mothers all knew, you know, okay, at this time they'll be home. But now they're socializing on these games as well.
Yeah.
And so they're all feeling like they'll miss out because so-and-so's playing and so-and-so's playing. So we went Monday through Thursday, just none.
Right.
You know, and that way the parents knew. Is that something like, what I'm hearing from
Yeah.
you is take it out for the week?
Again, every kid, every family is different, but for a lot of kids, it becomes such a daily tool that it interrupts the balance of their lives. And when they become irritable, when they become surly, you know what teenagers are like when they're surly, that's when you know it's unbalanced. So for me, that Monday through Thursday provides that break so it doesn't become problematic overuse, right? You've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and let them do things that are social, because you're right. Fortnite is a socialization tool. They communicate online, they challenge each other. So it's not all bad.
Yeah, and I think that's important to remember. I love that. And here's the book. It's Social Media Wellness, Helping Tweens and Teens Thrive in an Unbalanced Digital World. You can visit Anna's website for more information. It was so great to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here. That was awesome.